Thank you for joining us for the 2-minute drills. I'm Aram Talegian, joined on my left by Steve Ramirez, and behind the camera, Fred J. Robledo.
Hey, hey.
Suburban League opens this week, and boy, this is an interesting league this year, at least according to the standings thus far. And what better way to start it off, Stevie, than the last two champions meeting for a game, for all intents and purposes, is going to go a long way toward determining this year's champion. And what we're talking about is La Mirada, hosting Norwalk on Friday night. Now check this out, Stevie. This is the funny thing I find about this league. Entering league play, there's not one team in this league that has, and this is a 7-team league, there's not one team with a winning record. The best record in the league so far right now is Mayfair at 2-2. Then you drop down to Norwalk and La Mirada and Artesia all at 1-3. Now we can talk about...
Is that scheduling, or is that just... Well, yes. In La Mirada's case, we know it's scheduling. I don't know in
Norwalk's case, we know it's scheduling.
I mean, like, Mayfair got killed by Sonora, and I'm not sure... I mean, I could almost say 100% that La Mirada would probably dominate Sonora.
Yeah, and basically we can tell you that, the best win of any league team in the non-league so far is La Mirada's win.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I look at this game, and to me, La Mirada's 1-0.
Was I saying something?
Yeah, I don't even count the other games.
Okay.
La Mirada's 1-0, and it was a resounding victory over Charter Oak. Their only loss.
So that's what I was saying.
To make your point for you,
the
Aaron.
best non-league win of any team in the league is La Mirada's win over Charter Oak. But you can't take it with you. Now starts league play. Everyone's slate is wiped clean, and here we go. There's a common opponent between Norwalk and La Mirada, and that's St. John Bosco. Norwalk lost to St. John Bosco 67-7. La Mirada lost to him 76-8. Make of that what you will.
Well, shame on St. John Bosco for playing those games. But go ahead, Steve.
I think in La Mirada's case, Bosco had a point to prove that night. Because Josh Rosen's out UCLA, and people were saying that they might take a step back, and I think they wanted to show no, we're still here, and they took it out on La Mirada.
Right. If you go by the power ratings...
You took it out on Norwalk, too.
Yeah, that's true, too.
They've taken it out on everybody, Steve.
Yes, they are so far, yeah, really. If you go by the power ratings for this league, La Mirada still lays over the league, and it's really by 30-something points, which kind of tells you that this game, as far as predictions from computers, is looking like a 30-something point game. You got to keep in mind that Coach Seniceros, the guy that kind of put Norwalk on the map, that had those good years, he's now at Chino. That's something to keep in mind. I don't know. I don't know how this game's anything but a La Mirada blowout. This is their comfort zone. They're back in it.
Yeah.
I know Coach Machete's going to say, hey, man, 2 years ago we lost to this team. 3 years ago we lost to Mayfair and got our butts kicked, that type of thing. So we are vulnerable, but I don't see it. I think La Mirada wins this game easily.
Yeah, a coach will always say that, we still got 6 games left or 5 games left or whatever the case may be. But this game, whoever wins this game is going to win the league, I think. And I just think La Mirada is head and shoulders above Norwalk, and who Norwalk has played and who La Mirada has played. I mean, just the talent level is just better at La Mirada. And I can't remember what the score was last year, but it wasn't really close. So I think you're going to see that same type of game, and even more so, I think La Mirada has more athletes this year than they did last year.
Right. Yeah, at this point, I'm only going to start grading these teams on how they did against like teams, teams that they're going to face in their division down the line, and that's why I like La Mirada. They've done nothing to disprove that they're not the favorite to win this league, that they're not a division contender. There's a lot of teams like them. West Covina's done the same thing. They're 1-3, taking on Tesoros and some other good teams. Colony, they've tried to do the same thing, a defending champion. We start to find out now what these teams are really made of as they get in the league, as they're the favorites, and as we get to the divisional playoffs down the line. So I'm like both of you. I like La Mirada. I'm basing it off of the way they manhandled a Charter Oak team that has looked really good, except for that La Mirada loss. So I'm going with La Mirada, and I'm going with them big, just like Aram said.
Yeah, actually the score last year was 35-21 La Mirada, so that lends you. And remember that Norwalk plays a style of offense that slows the game down and can kind of keep it respectable. So
unless you're playing St. John Bosco.
Unless you're playing St. John Bosco, right. But if La Mirada gets them behind and Norwalk has to throw, that can be trouble for that team.
Yeah.
And then you got a real issue.
Yeah, the thing with La Mirada is, like I said, they have athletes.
Right.
They can score,
Fast.
fast in a game like this. And, they could be up by 3 touchdowns, and the way Norwalk plays, I mean, they're basically out of it at that point.
It's going to really be in La Mirada's best interest to run the table from this point out and finish the regular season at 7-3 and as a league champion and get as high a seed as possible in the Southeast Division playoffs. Because like last year, and here's the thing, Freddie, that you got to have to avoid. You don't want to be a league champ playing the third place team from the Angeles League. You don't want to be even, you worry about the teams that are also in second place in other leagues that are going to have to play second place team from the Angeles League, which could be a St. Francis or a Cathedral. So if you're La Mirada, you want to finish 7-3 and hopefully draw, be a league champ and draw the third place team from the Pacific League rather than, something like this. So this is important for the Matadores. They have to take care of business over these next 6-7 weeks here and finish the season 7-3. We all think they get off to a good start on Friday night. Get out there at La Mirada, Suburban League opener.